What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. Toe Tag and Tambo. Back for the, what is it now, Week 6 edition we're going into. We're going to be discussing all things Week 5 as we break down the games. Got my guys Big T and JSU here with me. And Big T, I'm going to bring you in first, man. I know you're just wrapping up some of the baseball stuff. Great show you guys did earlier today with Grayson there. That was incredible. Getting him on to sort of talking about his process. You guys making fun of him a little bit, saying he's sandbagging and whatnot. But all the shows all day on this channel. So hit the like button on the way in if you haven't. Subscribe. We did hit over 12,000. Big T, I'll go to you, man. Good stuff last week. And obviously you absolutely smashed it. The core hitting again for you. Another big day. How's it going, man?
Yeah, first of all, it's an honor to be on with Toe Tap and Tambo. As my man Grayson said earlier today.
You got it right the first time, but I like that nickname too. That's okay.
Yeah, toe tapping, actually. I like that a lot, but tapping into the winner's circle. But yeah, last week, another good week. I think we nailed a ton of stuff. Close to like just full shipping, but another six-figure day, so cannot complain about that. Got a live final seat for FanDuel, so now I got one for both sites. That's always the first goal I have to start a year, kind of get one seat early. Like last year, for example, we were filming that thing and I wanted to get a seat bad and I literally could not get one last year. I just kept losing. And all of a sudden, before I knew it, it was week like 11 and I was still chasing for a seat way in the hole. So it's nice to, because once you get one on each site, a little bit of the pressure's gone because you got that equity built up and you can't just totally get waxed. If you don't get that seat, you can get waxed.
Oh, big time, especially in like you're talking for the World Championships, which is what you got both too. I actually got my first King of the Beach seat last night. I tweeted it out. The kicker season continues. Double kicker on there. Took down
That's a bad build, Tambo. I mean, we can't play kickers.
It just beats everybody else, but it's the worst build. So it was very nice, like you said, get the first one out of the way. And JSU,
would you rather play like a $200 tight end just so you can be unique?
Oh, that's what I mean. Like in that stuff, I don't get it. Like Carlson put out more than everybody himself. Wright could have had more. He missed a field goal, and then I know it got Kelsey another touchdown, but that other one, the field goal he would have missed, they could have replayed that. But before I bring JSU in, right quick, I want to show you because you just mentioned. Remember last week, you guys, my list, and then JSU, you're a big part of this list, so I'll come to you in a second. But all I did, you guys got to watch the show, was take the notes. I'm going to my thing right now. It had Kamara and Breece Hall, so I plugged them into the lineup. It said Allen with 2 wide receiver / Shakir question mark, because we were waiting on the Shakir news. We ended up getting it. So you plug in Davis and Shakir. And then it said from JSU, Pickens run back, exclamation point. So I got his Pickens run back into the lineup. Josh Allen, Hall, Kamara, Davis, Shakir, Pickens. Looking for 3 spots. I got Dallas D, Derrick Henry. And I know that Big T didn't love this, and I tried to drop the ball back on him first drive with my guy George Kittle because he was hating on it. 4 for 47 and a fumble on the first drive of the game, and then never showed up again. But he just happens to fit into this lineup when you build it, and he was on my sheet, and it put up 225 points. I know it wouldn't have shipped the milli or nothing, but I'm just saying you could have used that in some higher dollars, smaller stakes, anything you wanted. Get the mute button off, you donkey. What are you saying?
Don't be making fun of my mute. I said I don't remember now because I was too rattled by the mute button.
Oh yeah, the Kittle.
I'm sure he was laughing about you playing Kittle and
he hates
dropping the ball bag. Dropping the ball bag.
That's what I said. I said you wouldn't have shipped, but you'd have won a lot of bread with that team.
Yeah, 225 was very solid. Yeah. I mean, that's the funny part. I'm at JSU. Bring you in, man. How was your week? What are your thoughts coming into this week as we go into our favorite show, our new favorite show together?
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite shows to do, but the week was good. Definitely one of probably my best weeks for NFL DFS, and it's not going to show in the I didn't ship the 6 figures like my guy Big T or ship a seat like Toe Tap and Tambo or whatever his new nickname is that I love. That Tony, I knew Tony was going to take when he went to Tony first. I was like, damn it, because I wanted to say it first.
I was waiting for you guys to come in with it.
Oh, it was so good. And he said it twice, too. It was so good. He had to say it again. It was great. But, yeah, the week was good. I felt like I had a good path for a lot of where I was going. I felt like I gave out some good information to the people, which is always good. It's something we don't talk about a lot, but it definitely makes you feel good. It's not just about our success. Yeah, we want to win. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to people and be like, yeah, I'm not rooting on myself to hit 6 figures. Like, of course we are. Like, when Tony's about to ship 6 figures, he's texted me like, yo, I have a shot. So now I'm like rooting for Tony at the very end because I want him to ship. Like, we want each other to ship. But one of the things that no touts really talk about a lot is the feel good feeling when you give people what you feel is good information, what you feel could help people win money. And that's like the best part of doing this. So I felt like I did that. I got on. I mean, I said Shakir was like a lock on the show, and Tony came in and was like, he's not even going to be that popular, which I was stunned with, but he was right. I mean, only 8% in the Millie Maker. I think in the higher dollar stuff, Tony, he might have been a little higher.
Yeah,
but like still 15% for Shakir was like a gift. 3,200 with Josh Allen throwing him the football and him playing all those snaps and being the third dude, but now like really good. And I said it on the show. I was like, I don't know how you don't play this dude. And we all thought Josh Allen was the top spend at quarterback. Like, I only played 3 quarterbacks, and Josh Allen was the only spend up I played. And I think Tony was the same way. I think we all thought he was the clear number 1. We didn't really like the Eagles-Cardinals game as much, so like it just kind of all worked out. The other guy I played was Carson Wentz and Kenny Pickett. I like the Wentz call. God, I can't wait to talk about that game though, because my man Carson Wentz, I'm going to say my man Big T, because he still came through for me. He still came through for me and won me some money this week. But my God, was he bad. Like,
welcome to the Carson Wentz experience.
It was hurtful. I mean, that dude, 2-yard line, just staring down his receiver the entire route. Like, I knew he was going to J.D. McKissic. Like, everybody knew he was going there, and he just stared him down and threw that pick. I knew it right when it left his hand. I was like, this thing's getting picked. You could just tell. And, of course, it did in Carson Wentz fashion. But it was still a good week, though. I felt like we gave good information, so I was happy about that.
Definitely. And that look ahead, speaking of, that's Thursday Night Football, right? We're getting Fields. We'll get to that, Big T. Fields, we'll talk about for week 5. I know you mentioned that on the show there last week. And then we've got them going up against the Commanders with Carson Wentz. So we'll have a lot more over at Run Pure Sports. As always with that, it's a showdown slate. Excited. $1 million up top. Again, we were right there last night at the top. I know a couple members, one of our members in Discord actually had the 68K locked up until I think it was that kneel at the end or whatever happened there at the last second and sort of flipped them out.
Kneel cost the member 68K.
It moved him out of the optimal, right?
I didn't know it was a member, though.
There was one member in the chat that had it at 68K at one point there. So either way, there was a lot. It's showdown. We talk about this all the time. It shifts quickly.
They got to fix that damn rule anyways. I thought they did one year. You shouldn't lose yards for kneeling it. Like,
that was the first time I ever lost. Did I ever tell you guys that story? That was the first time I ever lost big money. Was my first live final ever. I was in 10th place, and there was a big difference between 10th place and a top 10 back then. In 2014, there was a huge difference in drop off and pay, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but my guy took a kneel down at the very end. I think it was Cam Newton. I had Cam Newton. Either way, cost me. I went from like winning like 50 grand to like 10 or 15. Like, it was a massive difference.
It's better to forget that. The scar tissue is too much. And now you've made plenty of other money since. So it's funny. Everyone has those stories of a bad beat or something that hurt them when they didn't have a lot of success at the time. Maybe you were starting to just get into it.
But you don't see that on the main slate as much, right, Tambo? Right. Like a kneel down, moving the needle that much, like one kneel down. You see it in showdown more than very much.
You're right. Like, there's always that one little thing, like with Hoop winning the Millie, where both defenses were technically behind him. You wouldn't expect a pick 6 in overtime or something, or a strip sack, fumble, scoop and score, whatever, but it could have happened. Like, that's the crazy part. So you never know. But we got to dive into this, guys. We got to get into these games. We're not going to spend as much time as last week going through all of them. Like Big T said in the past, sometimes the show might be 2 hours. This week we're aiming for an hour, and we've already spent some time talking about our recap, but we sort of work things into that as well. So Big T, I'm going to go to you real quick. Colts versus Broncos. Last week, we're starting with that one.
Yeah, I'm going to speed you up right away because this game sucks. So I don't even want to spend another second talking about this game.
I'm with you. JSU, I know you feel the same. So JSU, I'll go to you on the London game. Any thoughts there? We had Giants versus the Packers overseas, of course, and the Packers lost. Surprising. Heard a lot of teasers. Heard a lot of survivor pools. Those are still kicking around in those, but the teasers, man, that one really killed us. Any thoughts on that game there?
And I was on the show with Holden. You guys, I don't know if you guys were watching that show, but Holden was miserable. I mean, I don't have a ton to say about the game, but my God, being on a show with Holden while he has a bet and his bet's going the wrong way,
it's miserable.
By far the most miserable thing. I mean, I should be paid double, Tony. Boss T, I should be paid double when Holden is tilting on my show. All right. I want to make that a rule. Can we put that in writing?
The only thing worse I've seen is Big Rob, our boy Big Rob in golf. Like every dude he has misses putts, and he's the only guy that ever has a dude that shanks one, and it's pure pain.
I've seen Rob on Twitter tilting on Thursday, so I know what you're talking about.
And it's literally the opposite of how I am. So it's literally it's painful.
I'm the same as you, and I don't care. I just don't tilt any of it because like I've seen it all. I don't care. But this list literally had so many bets. You should see my dead teasers in my transaction history that are all only dead. And I did round robin them some and stuff, so it's fine. But I didn't get completely crushed. But Green Bay did crush a lot of money. Like I was like, God. And there's nothing worse when it's the first game. I'd rather it be the last.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Like the only thing you need, you can figure it out a hedge.
And you can hedge. There's hedges,
There's other options. You just didn't have that. And it was like, right out of the gate, I got to look at all. It's like on DraftKings when your money's already dead from an early withdrawal or something in golf, and it has to stay up there for 4 days. That's exactly what it's like with those teasers. Anything else, JSU, on that game, Giants-Packers?
I think Green Bay is pretty fraudulent right now. I mean, I said it before the Patriots game. Like, I thought the Patriots could hang in. I know Tony felt that way. I don't really like Green Bay in the way they're looking right now. And it doesn't shock me that the Giants came back and won that game. Like, they shouldn't have, but they did. And, yeah.
Yeah, they're at home against the Jets this week, so a good chance to bounce back there. But go to a different game here, Big T. Kick it back to you. An absolute smashing, a blowout. I think you talked a lot. Both you guys actually talked about this last week. But speaking of frauds, actually, was Jared Goff. Going to be in his first big game outdoors, go into New England. Let's see what he can do. Well, how's 0 points? Is that something you might be interested in? Probably not for Jared Goff. 29-0. Pat's got the job done. Damian Harris taking an injury on, of course, in that game. So now it officially is Ramondre Stevenson's season. It kind of was last week anyway, I think. But go ahead, Big T. Thoughts on Patriots-Lions?
Yeah, one of the key spots for my teams, too. I played New England's defense on both sides. I talked about it in the morning show. I wanted to get off Dallas, even though I like Dallas spot. I wanted to get off of it a little bit just because to be different and just have a different build. And luckily I picked New England. So I think they actually outscored Dallas, even though Dallas crushed. But on DraftKings, my main team, I did have Damian Harris, the little combo there, Harris and New England. I loved it, though. I felt very good about it. It was a coin flip, too. I talked about it on the Morning Wood. I wanted Stevenson or Harris. I felt like Stevenson would be higher owned. I picked wrong. Like, I still think it was a coin flip. My guy got hurt. He crushed. I could have just as easily picked Stevenson. Same price. The worst part is, so my main team was obviously that one. It shipped on FanDuel. DraftKings, it did good. Man, if Stevenson, obviously you can do this every damn week, and it's a lesson to be learned. Don't do it to yourself. I haven't really cared, but, man, if Stevenson's in there over Damian Harris, it is a very, very profitable switch there, but you can't kick yourself over those. It was a true coin flip. I mean, it is what it is.
They go into Cleveland this week now, by the way, who we just saw the Chargers run all over. You know, it already came out this morning that Harris likely out a couple weeks, but I was going through the same thing as you on the show before. What's that?
Acuna with the little gapper down the line.
Okay, like you're watching that because Freed already got hit up for 2 runs right out of the gate. But I was doing the same thing you were, and then we can go to JSU here. The Lions are on a bye this upcoming week, so no look ahead there. Patriots,
super easy.
Like, I think the Patriots
last week was so easy. Like we talked about Detroit though, like just such an easy spot. 4 straight great matchups indoors. Now they go to New England. Well, last week they go to New England. New England, you can make fun of them on offense, but their defense is fine. Belichick's always going to have them ready. So, terrible spot for Detroit last week. It paid off. This week, New England, Cleveland, though, looks like a slugfest to me.
Yeah, and I will say, too, week off to think about it. So, yeah, go ahead.
We talked about New England being a winner. We talked about the under. I mean, we were all over that game from like every side. We were just all over that game. So
even the breakdown on the running backs, I was going to say before Big T had it on the wood, I was talking through it a little on the off the chalk. I said, if I play Harris, I want to play him with that D. I like that combo.
Yeah.
So you had that covered. I know JSU, you were on Stevenson, and I backed that up too, because I said, the thing is, if you actually are thinking about it, the more I looked into it, I was like in my head thinking of this situation, Stevenson could take over at running back right out of the gate and be that guy. But if they somehow get into a back and forth, he's also probably that guy. So even if the ownership was kind of balanced, I actually think results oriented aside, I actually think it made sense to have Stevenson regardless of if you're using the D or not. Anything else from you on this game, JSU?
I'll be honest too. Like, and I had Stevenson. So I would say I was on the luckier side of it, because obviously it benefits me as a Stevenson guy to have Harris go down. So I know that. And to be honest, it was kind of like a coin flip. It was kind of like, okay, I'm splitting hairs with these guys. Now, I do think that from a ceiling standpoint, I think Stevenson has a higher ceiling. Like, I think Stevenson is a bigger play guy. I think he is the better running back. Like, if you just said who's the best one, but that don't really matter, right? Because when Damian Harris shoves 2 touchdowns at the goal line down my ass, it's like, oh, well, Damian Harris was the best play that time. It just so happened he got hurt. So, I was right. The only thing I was wrong about was, and I should have done it, I even said it. Some people asked on the Up to Lock, they're like, any 1 o'clock defenses, because I was on the Cowboys and the Eagles as my 2 main defenses, and they were both at 4. And I said Tampa Bay, and then I said if you need a cheap one at 1, it'd probably be the Pats. But, like, I should have played a little bit of the Pats just because I had Stevenson. That was probably somewhere I went wrong, was I should have just, because I had an RB from the Patriots, I should have had a little bit of their defense in my MME builds, in the Millie Maker and stuff like that, and I didn't do it. So that was probably somewhere that I could have done a better job. Yeah,
and last note, and then Big T, I'll come to you on the Chargers versus the Browns, was just the ownership is changing very quickly nowadays. Like, throughout the week, the Twitter chatter between Stevenson and Harris was like, nobody's going to play the touchdown guy because everybody wants to play Stevenson. So it made you think that Harris would be the play.
What did they come in at?
I think it was 17-16. I think they were almost identical in the large $20 Millie Makers. So
I still always say you can just look at the projections. Like, so many people run optimizers. If they're projected similar, they're going to get similar ownership in my mind.
If they're projected similar and one says lower to start the week, that ownership's going to go up because everyone will balance the scales out. If there's a huge projection,
price too, which made a difference. Literally everything.
$100 difference, right? Exactly. Yeah. So
that's why I felt like I was literally flipping a coin. I'm like, okay, I'm just picking one. I like the running back.
You picked right and I picked wrong.
Well, I mean, I got lucky with an injury. Obviously,
I'll take lucky. I'm fine with lucky.
I wish you turned it into. Can I have turned it into 6 figures? You can take Stevenson. I'll take your 6 figures. How about that?
Better to be lucky than be good, isn't that what they say, right? So
hey, there's always a little luck built in.
Our guy Josh in the chat. This was I'll note this now because it saves us time in the game after this with the Jags. But that was the other thing. Ownership has been really bad lately. I will say this at some of the sites that we check out there, not dogging on nobody, just saying the truth. Robinson was projected, James Robinson, for like no ownership, 5 to 6%. Get him this week at home. He's low. There's no way people can play him because all those other 5K dudes are right there. He was the highest owned in the $20 milli at 21.25%. Damian Harris right behind him at 17.9.
James Robinson was what?
James Robinson was 21.25%, and people said he wasn't going to get ownership, and they had Jeff Wilson
in the milli.
28%. They had Jeff Wilson at 28, and he came in at 16. So it just goes to show.
Cambo, let me just say something though about that.
It's good.
You have to understand these ownerships. First of all, by contest, they're going to be different, obviously. But in the Millie Maker, you got a lot of tournament players who will just end up fading guys because of what looks like to be higher ownership. And I think in the case of Jeff Wilson, a lot of people probably did that where they're like, I'm going to be under on him and go in on different guys in that range. James Robinson's an example of someone probably in the Millie Maker that people are like, oh, I'm getting him at 5-6%. I'm going to go over the field on James Robinson. What happens, though, is when everyone's thought process is similar on those plays and people are like, oh, these are good Millie Maker plays, and all these people out there are touting it, now it gets people on them. Oh, I can get overweight eventually that guy's ownership pops up from 5 to 15.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up too, because it was a good takeaway from the Josh Jacobs the week before. Thought he was going to be a bunch. Yep. Nobody played him, crushed at low ownership. Opposite effect. Thought James Robinson was going to be low owned, comes in high, duds. It's just one of those things to keep an eye on. But JSU, I'll stick with you. Just for the first one, I was going to go to Big T, but you're already here. Nick Chubb was the 4th highest owned at 16%. Talk to me about the Browns-Chargers game. The Chargers got the job done 30-28. And I know there was a lot of talk at the end of that game, but the Chargers have screwed that up many times in the past. They finally got a little variance their way to get a last-second W for themselves. But talking about this Chargers-Browns game.
This is another example of a guy in the Millie Maker who was projected around 4 or 5%. Everyone probably went overweight in the Millie. His ownership goes from 4 or 5% to like 10 to 15%, right, Tambo? That's what
almost
you said.
17,
like around,
yeah, almost
17. And I love Nick Chubb. And anyone who watched Up the Lock show, I got heavier and heavier on Nick Chubb as the show went on. By the end of it, I was saying he's the guy I was most overweight on. Tambo, I literally had 60% of them in the Millie Maker in my 150 builds on DraftKings. I had 60% Nick Chubb and 60% Derrick Henry because Khalil Shakir opened up the world. It got me Justin Jefferson, who I had a same 50 to 60% of it. Got me the 2 stud running backs. And I spent down at quarterback for a bunch of lineups on the ones that I didn't play Josh Allen. I played Kenny Pickett and Wentz. So I had all this money to spend. And I like the Cowboys D, obviously. So, like, it just opened up everything. So I really like them. I think Nick Chubb is a stud. I mean, you want to talk about the guy that does the most with the least of, like, the stud running backs. I mean, the dude is insane in the amount of snaps he gets and the amount of work he does in that percentage of snaps is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. No one wants to tackle this dude either, Tambo, in the open field. He is a truck.
Oh, definitely not by themselves. That's for sure. Because even get one guy's not going to do it, not even close. No. The annoying part is too, and I know Big T was on me about this one, and maybe this guy is just not good. But the Hunt call, I liked Hunt last week for $2,000 cheaper. He ends up getting half the share. He gets the workload. He just doesn't do what Nick Chubb does, and he didn't get the touchdowns.
By the way, though, Cleveland needs to own the play calling in the goal line situations for some of those plays at the end was terrible.
Yeah.
The play calling at the end and just give it to the horse, man. Give it to the horse and let him do what he does. Some of the play calling, I swear they were just, they were trying to be cute. Like, stop being cute. Like, try and win the football game. Get your best player of the football.
All right, there, Big T. I got the Braves game on now, so I'm with you, man. I can follow along right up front here. Let's move on. You got anything to talk about with that game, Big T? Chargers, Browns?
Yeah, I mean, so some of the situations I'm indifferent on. I don't have like a take that I think's for sure right or wrong. But when I do think a take's right, I'll say it. I just don't understand the Hunt play. You can sell it to me, but man, the dude was in single digits 3 weeks. He doesn't get full workload. Chubb's a beast. You got like 8 other guys that have upside in the same price range.
Yeah.
You got to explain it to me wwhy you think he's a good play.
Yeah, I think that was I guess why it wasn't a good play is the last piece you said. Results aside, if you looked at it when you had Breece Hall, the New England guys, I guess that's the thing. The New England guys are splitting too, and you're picking a choice there. But
you're like a true 50-50. You're not 50-50 with Hunt.
It was 50-40. It was like 50-46 is what it worked out to. It was like almost the exact same in the end. But again, what Chubb does with the ball was just 2x. I think he got like 11 on the ground per carry versus Hunt was at like 5. It's not going to cut it.
Maybe I'm just partial too because I just think Chubb's so much better than Hunt. That
he is. Oh, there's no doubt. The difference was on this slate for sure. For me, at least, was needing the salary, and those guys were, it was $2,000 in the difference. Also, remember, this is where I got it wrong for sure. I mean, it's the guy just doesn't do enough, I guess. And Eckler is so involved, but I was back on Herbert. Right? I liked Herbert. I liked them when Allen's out. I like that it gets more condensed, and I like his game. I think he's good. So I'm trying to say, when you're trying to stack up that game and get a little bit different, obviously I had stacks without Hunt where I just used Amari Cooper. I had stacks without Everett that plugged in Njoku. I had stacks that used Hunt, and I had 5-game stacks that used 2 of them on that side. I don't think he's better than Chubb. It's not close. It's more what JSU said a minute ago. But when you snap in $2,000 in savings and the chance that he could take some of that goal line stuff away because just how they run business there, That's what you're playing on at low to no ownership. Again,
But the more
reason
I think
it's
about
more bad
it,
is
it's
'cause what we
more
have
the
on the
price range too. Because I could
the
see
price range.
like most weeks when we don't have that many good 5K guys, I could see pulling the trigger. Just because again, I keep saying I want to spend up for receiver, and I don't. There was just so many guys last week. That's more of it, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
Here's the point, though, that will become more prevalent when we get into these bye weeks, which Tambo talked about it before we got on. We're starting to get into the bye weeks, and maybe his price creeps down to like 5,500, and then maybe you're okay with taking a little more risk when we don't have Breece Hall and Ramondre and Damian Harris and Jeff Wilson and I thought ETN was a good tournament play. He was in kind of that range a little bit. Raheem Mostert was in that range a little bit. Like, we just had so many who I thought were good plays. It was just tough to click on.
The other
Kareem
thing
Hunt,
too with that is the point you guys made. That's perfect. The other thing though too was my expectation is they'd be down in the game against the Chargers. So that's why when I'm stacking that up, I'm thinking at least maybe I get some more targets there. But to your point, there was lots of guys in that range that I used on other spots, but also that made sense for me there. Real quick, this week, so we already talked about the Browns at home against the Patriots, Big T. The Chargers are that Monday Night Football game at home against the Broncos. Another damn primetime Russell Wilson game. We got to watch through that. Any thoughts on either of those games for the look ahead?
I mean, I think the New England game will play super ugly, and the Chargers game, I think, will – I have no reason to not think it will play ugly again. So, double freaking play. Come on.
Cross that bridge when we come to it on the Monday Night Football slate. Back to you, JSU.
I can't wait to pound the Chargers in that game, though. I'm done with Denver.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to pound the Chargers, too. I'm 100% with you. Like, Denver.
The spread is not even like what it should be either. Like, it's another game. Like, there's no reason for them to only be a couple point favorite.
What? Are they in Denver?
I think they're like -5 or something, but they're in
at home,
LA.
too. It's at home.
Oh, they're in LA?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Like, I thought they'd come out like 7 or something, but they do respect Denver's defense. It's a good D, but they just can't score.
No, Austin Eckler to give me those backup running backs too. I'll take them all. I'm gonna run all over Denver.
All right, JSU, Texans, Jags. Anything there? Ugly game, 13-6. Neither side really came through. People like Trevor Lawrence a little bit with his guys. I know we like Cooks and guys like that on the other side, but nothing really came through.
This is a game I just didn't get. I didn't like this game at all. It was catching steam. I knew some people were on Trevor Lawrence, and then I know like the obvious run backs for Houston, obviously with the way they play. You got like Pierce, who I think got there, right? He had a touchdown. I think he had a decent game.
He looked good too.
I mean, he's looked good the last few weeks. He looks legit. But I just didn't get this. Like, I didn't like this game. I didn't want pieces from it. And, I don't know what the ownerships came in on them, but I know Trevor Lawrence was owned. I have not much to say. I mean, it was an ugly game. I didn't really like it, and I didn't have much of it personally.
Yeah, I think it was just that it was condensed, so people, want to stack it up. I liked it from that perspective, but nothing crazy. So, Big T, anything for you on this game here? The Jags also should note, I think, they're going in to play the Colts this week. And then the Texans, I think, are one of the teams that's on the bye. I have everything sort of set aside here, but Texans are on the bye. So Jags go into Indianapolis. Anything else on this game or the look-ahead spot for you?
I mean, just that it's ugly all the way around, so I don't need it. Pierce looks good would be my only comment.
Yeah, we can
the
stick
rest
with
of
Pierce
these teams,
when he comes back. He gets an extra week of rest here. I'll stay with you, Big T, then. Atlanta against the Bucks. Bucks got the job done, 21-15. It wasn't easy, though, but you had this one, too. You had the 8.5 I have written down on my sheet to cover, and that came through. So
and they got that bullshit call. They're down 6. They should have got the football back. I'm not saying they would have gone and scored, but they should have had a chance to go win that football game. Tampa Bay, I'll say it again. I've said it all 5 weeks. They're not any good. Brady looks terrible to me. The receivers keep getting injured. I just think they're going to be a great bet against team. Oh, God. Of course they play Pittsburgh this week.
8-point favorites on the road.
Come on. Nobody runs better than Brady. Like, you get freaking Pittsburgh, the worst team in football. Like, come on.
Their schedule, man.
That's disgusting. I wanted to see a spot where I could pound. I can't even take Pittsburgh. They're horrible.
Right.
So, like, that's this. I was hoping to see a good team against Tampa. But yeah, I mean, I don't have Atlanta looks better than we think, and Tampa looks worse than everyone thinks would be my take. Tampa, Pittsburgh look ahead. I mean, very disgusted that they play Pittsburgh because they're just the worst team in football. Atlanta has a tough matchup too versus San Francisco. I don't think they match up good versus San Fran at all. So yeah, not a ton, but I think Atlanta is way better than people think.
Yeah, Richie Smalls in the chat said, I'm pretty sure the Falcons are 5-0 against the spread so far this year. It does seem right.
That's what happens when you're better than people think, though. Like, you're going to cover games.
And also, I know they lost the game, but no Kyle Pitts and still show up and have a chance in that game. Like I said, should have got that ball back, could have had a chance to make it happen. So maybe he's not needed or maybe he's not special. I don't know. JSU, anything for you from this one?
I mean, two things. The Bucs can't finish teams. Like they struggle to put away the Falcons. They let the Falcons come back in that game. And honestly, Falcons got kind of hosed with that call. I'm with Tony.
Not kind of hosed. They definitely got hosed.
No, I mean, okay, I don't know if they, with that call, they come back and definitely.
Yeah, they might not have scored, but they should have had a chance.
They were rolling, Tony. They were rolling at the end of that game, and they might have. Honestly, they might have came back. And maybe it's just thank God they didn't get that call for the Bucs backers because, man, it was looking bad at the end of that game. I'm with you. Brady doesn't look good. What was the ownership on Brady? What was the?
That was the stand we were right on for sure. I don't think Tampa wasn't on him either.
22%.
Yeah,
22% for a guy that can't run.
And it dropped Josh Allen to 12 is what ended up happening. So
I got Josh Allen in a lot of my stuff under 10% too, which is just crazy.
Yeah, Josh Allen was definitely the best.
You're telling me that it's just a blanket statement, in a blanket, as we say on here. But Josh Allen, double stack, Jefferson, Kupp was my shipper. Not one of them had any ownership.
Yeah.
How can you play the Buffalo double with the two best receivers in football and none of them be owned?
Yeah, that's the thing too, right? Like that was one of the conversation pieces this last week is just play your cash game and you win everything. Like, yeah, a bunch of those good plays got there, but it really, we talked about this JSU on yesterday's show. If you guys didn't catch it, you can go back and see it. It's only an hour free show breaking down the slate. And it's only like 45 minutes because in the end we talk about last night's game. So we broke down the slate and you just had to wait on that McKenzie news. It clearly made Shakir in play and made Davis a better play. You already had Josh Allen. You just wanted to find a way to fit him in with other guys. And like, that's why people in cash games were debating Tom Brady versus Josh Allen. And it worked out in the end that you could basically have them all and just get off Brady and play Allen in a spot that even in a blowout, he was expected to just crush. And that's what he did. Ended up dropping him to 12% when in reality, he probably should have went up when you get a guy like Shakir and Davis that you could plug in. So funny how that works sometimes, but you want to wait on the injury news.
That's what made no sense. And there was a bunch of value at all these different positions too, like tight end, defense, running backs. Like there was value everywhere. Like you could have paid up for quarterback. Like you had the money, you could have easily done it. So like, it's not like, oh, well, the 1% plays that were cheap kind of hit off. You know what I mean?
The value running backs, to your point, didn't get any worse with this news. Like, so you didn't have to move off them. But if you had $2,000 all of a sudden from getting able to plug in a guy like Shakir over a $5,900 guy, you could easily go from Brady up to Allen and get there that way. And that's the next game, Jesse. I'm not sure if you have anything on this one, but Bills versus Steelers.
I just don't get, though, how a guy that can't run is 22% owned and everyone wants to play him.
At 45 years old.
Do you guys think it had anything to do with the fact that the week before when all those Detroit players popped, it ended up being Goff and Geno in that game? This week, you obviously had Fournette, you had Godwin, you had Cade Otton, you had all those guys popping. So do you think it was like, because you saw it yesterday, JS, the Millie winner went with 3 Tampa Bay guys, no Tom Brady. So he actually took your opinion and said, you're right. Why would I play that loser at 20% owned that can't run, that's 45 years old, when I can just play Josh Allen?
Build, though.
And yeah, of course.
But I'm saying, but I understood the build because at least he had a running back in there. He had a real cheap tight end. And then he had Godwin, who was underpriced. But like, I don't know. It wasn't like, it still could have worked out where Brady had an okay game, but they still took enough away for him to win it with Josh Allen putting up 40 like he did in the single stat. But my point is just like 27% for Godwin. Fournette was probably like 15, and Cade Otton was probably like around 10 or 15. Like That's probably why Tom Brady was 22%. Yeah, you're right, Tambo.
It makes sense. By the way, C+ they gave him on that lineup yesterday. So,
and I hear this all the time. Brady killed Atlanta the last couple years. I know he's killed Atlanta the last couple years. You don't have to tell me that. I know he has, but it's not last year. It's not the year before. They have a different offensive line. The team is just different. Like, you can see it. Old Tom Brady, they would have had 40 on this team, and the game would have ended 40-7. Old Tom Brady.
QVT, quarterback versus team, just crushes. Our boy Grayson earlier didn't even know what BVP was, and he plays the damn game professionally. He's like, it matters, of course, but no one out there on the field is talking about no BVP. They're just doing their job, getting ready for it, and shipping. That's what they're doing out on the field. So, yeah, Brady versus them. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it. It's a blowout. Buffalo smashed. It's what we expected. Big T won all the money with it. Like, I think we have the takeaways. Anything, Big T?
I mean, just that they're the best team in football, and it's like clear as day.
Well, here's the best.
Don't let them get McCaffrey like all these rumors, because I say running back doesn't matter.
We'll see.
But my God, if they get McCaffrey,
no way they're getting McCaffrey. I'll just say it right now. No way. No way they're giving the best team McCaffrey on top of it. By the way, I'll just say one thing. I was wrong about Kenny Pickett, but my God, I think Kenny Pickett's going to be good.
Wrong about what? He crushed.
Well, he didn't do for DFS
he didn't
purposes.
get in the box, but he was good. Like
I
tell you, sometimes you can't take W's. You can't take an L on. I was talking about the receiver. You can take an L on Pickett.
Yeah.
I take back everything I just said. Take your L away.
You thought he said Pickens.
I thought he said Pickens.
I said Pickens? No. Can I take my W on Pickens? I played Pickens.
You can take a W. Pickett,
I'll take my W.
Back to your L.
Pickett, though, I will say this. I'll take the L on him. Out of my three quarterbacks that I played, he was the worst one. I'll take it. But he is going to be good.
You said but. You weren't allowed to say but.
No, JSU. This man got 16 DraftKings points at 5,100 with no touchdowns. 10 yards on the ground. Still had 16.
But Tony won't let me. I can't take victory laps for 16.
Definitely not.
No. I'm not taking a victory lap for anything. I'm telling you, he's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL.
I agree with you there.
I'm telling you, like, I watched it. He made some throws that were just really, really good. And Pickens made some ridiculous catches.
He's so good.
Oh, my God.
Deontay had that grab, too. Deontay had that one-handed grab, too, in that game.
No, Deontay pissed me off. He dropped that ball at the end, 4th and 6 or whatever, and the guy can't hold the damn football.
Who was on the show with us, JSU, where they said Pickens is not like the other studs or something? So we did a show with someone early in the year, and somebody said that. I can't remember who.
We'll see.
God, who said
but Big T, I want to spend a minute on the look ahead, because you talk about Bills being the best team in football. Bills playing Kansas City this week, and the first time ever, I think, that Mahomes is a home dog.
So
2.5 point home dog.
So last week I gave the lock of the year Dallas, like O-line versus D-line, total mismatch, easy money. This week's lock of the week. There's no way the Chiefs are beating Buffalo. Like Buffalo, I'm glad it's in KC, because if it was in Buffalo, we would get a terrible price. It'd be like -7 to 8. I'm so happy that it's in KC, so that they can't make – this is an example. They can't make the spread what it needs to be. Like, they're not going to make Buffalo – somebody hit a ball.
Darno, you play Contreras?
No, I play Darno, baby. Man,
Darno.
No, both sites. Buffalo's the best team. They're going to make a statement. Kansas City's overrated. Kansas City, I've hated all year, but they've had 2 straight pretty good matchups for what they want to do. This is not going to be a good matchup. Buffalo's going to run a train on them, and I'm so happy that this number right now, what's it currently, like actively? Let me pull up the unabated, as we always talk about.
Yeah.
We can price shop here and see all of the different prices across the board. We can get – it's got to be under 3 somewhere.
Oh, right? Bills are 2.5 on DraftKings right now. The Bills are 2.5 on DraftKings right now.
And
it's up to 3 on my book, so I would.
A lot of places it's 3 right now on DraftKings and FanDuel. DraftKings is a slight cheaper, $115. Like, just bet it. They're not losing to Kansas City. I'm telling you, Kansas City's overrated. This is my lock of the week this week. I'll put it up on the sheet too for bets members. I just don't see it. There is going to be points. I mean, Kansas City will score some points, but they're not going to be able to keep the pace. I mean, Buffalo's going to score high 30s, low 40s again. Yeah, give me Buffalo. We don't need to talk forever. It's not a preview show. I love Buffalo.
All right.
I think we'll also see some of these guys on the injury report for Buffalo miraculously make their debuts against Kansas City. I think they some of these guys might have took the week off last week getting ready for this week. So I think we might see Buffalo get a little healthier. And I'm with you. Buffalo rolls.
That's not even bringing up the fact that they're still pissed, too, about how the last season finished. And they're going to lay a whooping.
I mean, 2.5 is ridiculous. I'm with you.
They just can't set the spread right. That's why we get a gift. Like, they can't make them like what they should be, like a 5 or 6 point favorite. That's what they should be. They just can't do it, though. Like, you can't give Mahomes at home that. So they just won't do it. And for that, we get a gift. We got to take advantage of the gifts.
Of note, too, it's there's 2 big totals, right? That's at 54. The Cardinals and the Seahawks this week are at 51. The rest of the games are all below 40 or below 50. So
the Cardinals finally get a good spot.
Yeah.
At Seattle.
But you might see them, this game is going to be popular for DFS. Like Richie was asking in the chat, with the 54-point total, people are going to find ways to get this stack into their lineups in that spot. I believe it's an afternoon game, right? Yeah, it is. So
both these games.
Yeah.
And Penny tore what did he tear? He tore something, so he's out. So Kenneth
broke
Walker,
his leg, I think.
He broke his tibia or his fibia, one of the two, and he's out. Yeah, it's gonna be Kenneth Walker the third, as somebody in the chat asked about earlier.
5,400 too, the tasty price we like.
Yeah, he should be popular this week for good reason, but popular, who cares? We just looked at it.
He's going to be in there for me. You can mark that on the note sheet for next week.
They're so popular that 82% of the field or whatever it is doesn't want to play them. So, yeah, we'll see.
I'm not fading him at 5,400. You look at – I'm not a huge stat guy. I'm more of a, as everyone says, watch the games. They're breaking a lot of tackles, those Seattle running backs, and that's just too cheap of a price tag. So,
and they get a little bit of play action going now. When you got Geno actually putting in work and being able to find these guys, the defense has to react to that, right? And that's what the trouble is. So let's lump these next few games together, JSU, because the Jets smashed the Dolphins. The look-aheads are like Jets, Packers, don't care. The Dolphins are playing the Vikings, and that's the other next game. Vikings.
I got one comment about the Jets real quick.
Yeah, chime in on the ones you want to, for sure.
Because I think people need to take advantage of spots like this. So I loved Miami coming into this game. I was going to take them, but immediately you got to know when to pivot. This is where live betting is huge. Right when Teddy gets hurt and he's not coming back for the most part, that backup quarterback's horrendous. So immediately I get on the app. I see what the number is. The Jets were only minus 2.5 and like minus 150 on the money line. That is literally free money they're giving you. The team doesn't have a quarterback. If I lose to a team without a quarterback, so be it. That's fine. I've lost tons of bets in my life. But I'm going to make you beat me with no quarterback. I'm going to make you show it to me. So you get right in there and you pound it immediately. You can always come back and hedge later on too, but you got to take advantage of these betting spots as the season goes.
Yeah, I like that one. And Hall looked good as well in that game. And now he's going in on the road underdog against the Packers. Anything there, JSU? I know you liked Hall quite a bit last week as well. Anything there?
Yeah, I mean, I think he looked really good. I think that there's no reason why you don't go back to him again. The Jets are playing better. Now, I think we should take it easy when they beat Miami with their third string quarterback, 40-17. If people forget too, this game was close for a little bit as well. Like, this wasn't no thumping from the get-go when Teddy went down either. The game was somewhat close at certain points, and then it got out of hand. But and also Teddy Bridgewater, so he's in the concussion protocol, but was he diagnosed with the concussion? Like, what actually happened with that?
They said that he was wobbly, and there's video of him. I don't see the wobble, so we have to see what ends up happening or comes from it. But I'd imagine we'd see him back this week. I don't know. It didn't. Yeah,
but they can't be pulling dudes out and then they give him the protocol concussion thing. Then they pass and then they say he's out.
Yeah. The worst
how
case,
does that work?
Well,
wait
here's
until
the
that
thing.
happens to Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes.
Right.
Wait until that happens to them. Watch the outrage from, Kansas City or Buffalo from the people. If they pull them out, a spotter pulls them out, and then they're like, oh, we put him through the protocol and he passed and then he's out.
Just what? For the record, as of right now, Teddy's not playing because the Minnesota's favored by 3. If he was in, Minnesota is not favored by 3. So the lines are not based
he's out.
on. I mean, he's not for sure out, but as of right now, the line is telling me he's out. If he gets in, that line's going to move a ton. So if anyone out there thinks Teddy plays, bet Miami because it's going to move.
Yeah,
I think he probably just doesn't play. I mean, they're going to be so safe after the Tua thing. Like, they're just not going to push.
That's what I was going to say. Couldn't have been a worse timing and literally the same damn team that the guy's from. It's like it's
my point, though, is
and it's the quarterback.
Careful with these damn spotters because they're going to start opening up a whole can when they start doing it to legit quarterbacks and legit teams in playoff situations too. Like that's going to be a huge thing. You're going to move a lot of money one way or the other if a spotter sees Josh Allen give a little 1-2 wobble at the end of a hit. And
we need spotters for the damn roughing the passer calls, not for that. Like, that's what we need them for. Get someone
that's
on that.
That's what we need them for. We just need to allow them to be reviewed. Those shitty calls need to be reviewed.
Talk to me, JSU. You wanted to talk on this Titans-Washington game, so go to that one. Titans got the job done in the end.
Carson Wentz is just he's a roller coaster. I mean, there's nothing else to say with Carson Wentz other than he is a roller coaster, real life, real time, just up, down, side to side. The man makes some throws and you're like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, I'll take those. And then he just makes some where you just put your head down and you want to like bash your head through a wall or something like that. Like, it's unbelievable. They drive down that field and they have 4 plays, plenty of time, be able to punch it in. They probably couldn't run the ball because I'm pretty sure they didn't have a timeout, but like 4 shots. Are you kidding me? You stare down your running back coming out of the field. You don't look at anyone else. You don't look away anyone. The linebacker jumps it, pick, ends the game. It was just a terrible way to end it. He also was getting close to like being actually like relevant for fantasy because if you got over that 30 burger, it would have been real tasty for me. But hey, that's the breaks. I will say I was Diami was the one good spot. I had a little bit of Diami, which was one of the things that saved my weekend was having a bunch of him. So
more late news to be on top of. We talked on the show yesterday, but Dotson already out. Last minute, sort of waiting. That one of the pieces that people were just letting slide through was that Logan Thomas was questionable. And when they announced him out, like you're not expecting John Bates to come through and have a big game. You're going to say, all right, Samuel, Terry McLaurin, and now Diami Brown could have a spot here. And he was another cheap guy that you could have plugged in and got access to. Big T, go to you right quick. Seahawks, Saints. Because the Commanders will play on Thursday, by the way, and Titans are on a bye. So no need to look ahead. We'll have the Commanders game covered for Thursday Night Football with Showdown at Rum Pure Sports. If you guys are just joining us, hit that like button. It helps us out. We got over our 12,000 subscribers, so now we aim for 15,000. That's the next target. Got to bump it up just a little bit. 13 first, but baby steps, right? Big T, though, this game, 39-32. The Seahawks stay involved in these big, heavy games, but it was really only 3 guys, one that nobody played. You couldn't really play him on Draftkings. On FanDuel, could say that tight end was a wasteland to get to Taysom Hill there. But the Kamara Lockett thing was where the chalk was at least a little bit, and it worked out, and for good reason. They were both underpriced with the spots that they were in. Talk to me a little bit about this game, shooting out 39-32.
Yeah, I wish Taysom obviously was tight end or running back even on DK because I would play him. I've always liked him, as everyone knows. But last week, you couldn't play him at quarterback. I mean, you just can't. Like, sure, if you want to just totally throw it, I'd be more willing to like totally gamble on a showdown format where you can just do weird shit and have it happen. On a full slate, though, man, I know he hit the optimal, but my God, he had to have the best game of all time to get there. And
yeah.
You just can't do it is my point. I would love to play him if he was a different position. Even 6K on FanDuel when all those tight ends are 4K, it's really, really hard
That's what I was trying to look up, man. Not to cut you off. I just want to get on the same page here to ask because I said that to JSU yesterday. I was trying to think about it. I was looking at your team up there.
I would have never played him at 6K, but it would have been perfect for the brand if I did.
But Freiermuth was 5,800, and I know you wanted the run back. It's like –
I just would have never even played him over Freiermuth, though. I got to be honest. Like, okay. It's just
my only take was when you got no Michael.
That's
Thomas,
how I thought too.
You got no Michael Thomas. You got Andy
you
Dalton.
don't have to sell me on Taysom, believe me.
Yeah.
You don't have to sell me because I
you know
love
me.
him.
I'm never results oriented with it. I'm not saying play him because obviously shit. My point was tight end was bad on Sunday. On FanDuel, it's always like you're willing to take a 0. It's just the way it shapes up. You have to.
I think that's your best point though, Tambo, is like tight end was just bad. You could have just left it there. Like,
and they had a backup quarterback and Thomas out. Like the guy always, and everyone was playing Kamara, so it was leverage. I'm not saying like I would have got there a bunch. I'm just saying at least should have been thought about more. I didn't hear anybody really talk about it to be like.
There was a few people during the probably just because it was me and everyone knows I love Taysom. But I did get a few questions like saying he's going to crush, saying to play him at quarterback even, and.
I mean, at home against Seattle, there's going to be points. Like, I don't know. To me, it's not result. It feels results oriented because we're talking
even
after.
If he got one touchdown, though, he would have been a good play. Is the point? Like,
we take a 0
obviously,
there.
What he did is just just egregious, like how good he was. But two one touchdown.
Yeah, we don't get all day.
More egregious that Seattle allowed him to do that. But hey, that shows you that Seattle's
freaking football
bad.
player. Like.
He
can throw, run, block. He does it all.
Also, talked about McCaffrey, and someone just posted in the Discord, CBS Sports lists the Eagles as a potential landing spot for Christian McCaffrey. Let me tell you right now, if the Eagles or Bills get Christian McCaffrey, I
really think he's going to end up on a good team because they've already paid him all his money, so it's not going to cost the team anything. I think he's a free agent. It's literally the perfect trade spot to a good team, which is scary because someone's going to load up the wagons.
It's probably going to be Buffalo, man, just the way things play out.
Going to abuse people. Like, that's not even fair.
Because the Eagles just already have their situation. But we got to move on. We got to go here.
Spot, though, is the point.
I do want to bring it up, though, Big T, because both these look-ahead spots, it's the Saints at home against your Bengals, and it's the Seahawks in that big afternoon game. You already called it. They finally get a good spot for the Cardinals here. So what are your thoughts on these two look-ahead spots?
Yeah, Bengals are very conservative, which tilts me every week. They never throw it down the field. They can't protect. This looks like a bad spot to me versus New Orleans. I don't know. It just looks like an ugly spot where I don't like either team. And for the first time all year, I think Arizona's in a good spot. I haven't been on them. I hate them. But we're going to target Seattle games, and it could be the first time all year I play Kyler. I'm sure I'll regret it. Actually, I don't – depending on the price, I can't play him over like Josh Allen. How much price difference is there?
I didn't look it up just yet, but I know
I'll look real quick just because I got it. Allen's 82, Kyler's 73, so 900 difference. You could talk me into it. Point being, though, obviously it's early in the week. I could, for the first time all year, at least consider him. Really good spot for Arizona. Marquise Brown looks like a smash. As far as the actual game, though, I probably like Seattle at home. What's the spread? Oh, God, Arizona's favored? Yeah, I like Seattle for sure. Seattle's better than people think. They got good receivers, a good running back, decent line. Geno's playing great, good home field. I could be talked into that game for sure.
DraftKings, what are we doing keeping Tyler Lockett at 5,600?
Just every week.
I did see that one. Come
on, man.
Yeah. And they kept Metcalf at 68. They just like copy and pasted the pricing over, it looks like. But anything JSU, 49ers, Panthers? 49ers smashed them. We just talked about that. Matt Rule fired afterwards.
Yeah, Matt Rule. I mean, first thing they got right, Matt Rule fired. Get him out of there.
Who runs better than him? $800K a month for the next 4 years.
The best is people responded and said, "You take that." You said that's something I might be interested in.
Yeah, that's something I might be interested in.
A pay cut? Why? Don't you already make $1 million a month?
I mean, these donkeys, I've seen people out there like talking about how he got a raw deal. No one that gets $800K for the next 4 years every month got a raw deal. I don't care who it is.
Raw deal? How do you get a raw deal? I mean,
I don't care what happened. If you get
unemployed, making almost $1 million a month, unemployed.
I don't have much to say on this game other than he should have been fired so I'm glad he got fired. Yeah. But San Francisco's just a way better team. And I mean, not much else to say on that matter.
Phillies are just smashing right now, too, as we speak here. Last 4 games, though, Big T, the Eagles at Cardinals, to stay on brand there with that. 2017, Eagles get the job done. Cowboys beat the Rams 22-10. Anything on those 2 games?
The afternoon games went basically exactly how I thought. Arizona was a little closer, but I never felt like they were going to win the game over Philly. So I don't know. Dallas was super easy, went exactly how we thought. D-line, the best D-line or one of the best D-lines in football versus one of the worst O-lines in football. And it worked out exactly how we thought. And the nice part, the look ahead, Dallas, Philly, finally we get Philly in a spot where they have some heat. And I really like Dallas in this spot. I'm high on Dallas. I think they're way better than people think they are. Everyone's super high on Philly. And what's been the theme of these shows all year? I talk about this 5.5 number all the time. Philly looks unbeatable, and they're 5.5, 5.5 at home, even 4.5 at DraftKings right now. Dallas, man, I freaking love Dallas in this spot. It's going to be low scoring too. What's the total? The total is 42.
They're on to that a little bit, but yeah.
I see no way that game goes over. Like it's gonna be a defensive battle.
Kickers, baby. That's gonna be a showdown play.
It is a showdown game. Oh,
yeah.
Baby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's the Sunday night football game, Tony.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Anything from you on those ones, JSU? And if not, you can go to the Bengals Ravens last week's Sunday night football game.
We were all on the Cowboys last week. We both said it. I know. I'm with Tony. I think that it's definitely going to be a defensive battle, and like the Cowboys for sure. But I can't wait for that game. That's going to be just a good football game. Like I
want to clarify one thing too, as JSU's talking. If Dak somehow plays, I will like them less. I might go back to even liking Philly. As crazy as that sounds, he likes to gamble more than this other dude is a better fit for this defense. He doesn't really take chances.
Yeah.
Dak likes to air it out. I don't want Dak to come back. He's going to ruin this mojo.
Dak tries to show off a little bit to your point. And like you said, we've been waiting. You've talked all season, Big T, about this Philly schedule and how good it is and what they get. Yeah. This is the spot where I think they get, it's what many are going to consider an upset. But to you, it's like last week, tell the bookie he can have the points. It's the same thing again. It's like, it's not that. Dallas just has a good
I'm not going back to the wall quite with the bookie hold them. I don't want the 5.5, but I do think they can win.
You want them to keep giving you points, so you don't want to be too rude to them, right? You want them
I didn't need them versus Dallas.
You just didn't need them versus the Rams. Yeah. It's an IOU for the next time. Yeah. Anything else from you, JSU? If not, go to Bengals, Ravens. We're wrapping this thing up.
Yeah, no, not much else. Bengals, Ravens. God, the Bengals, they just
Ravens,
let
baby.
Us down.
Take
let
that,
us down.
Big D.
I don't know what else to say. Jamar Chase, they tried to get him the football in the beginning. They tried to get him in the backfield, to get him quick passes just to keep him involved. Just still nothing. They got to let it go.
Don't throw anything down the field ever, though. It's so annoying.
I know. That's what he's got.
Throw an interception if you have to. Like, throw the ball down the field.
I saw a video. Someone was talking about how Joe Mixon kind of telegraphs when it's a run or a pass when they're in shotgun. I thought it was kind of interesting.
I believe
how he stands up more when it's a run and he hunches down more when it's a pass. It was pretty interesting. I forget the guy's name on Twitter. I'll try and find it. But
you better send our boy Grayson to tell him that professionals get on the tape and they watch for that shit and they see. Because Mixon, if he's giving that away, that's a bad deal. And like you said, Burrow started the season. Remember all those picks? It's like now take some chances. Like Chase is so
I never
good.
mind interceptions either. When you're a team like Dallas, I mind them. Cincinnati, though, I don't mind picks. Take chances.
The only time I mind him is when it's Carson Wentz and he's just throwing it. He's giving him a gift.
He's gonna. That's when I mind it. He's gonna come back out. This man still threw. Yeah, that was a good call, JSU. It just goes overlooked on the week because the way it shook out. But at his price tag and for what you got out of him, 369 yards, I think it was. 3 of his receivers came through and did pretty well. It's just Henry came through on the other side. Like
Carson
you had options.
Wentz for fantasy is a good fantasy quarterback, probably for half the games. In the other half, he's going to be awful, like the Cowboys and the Eagles game. When you get him in the right spot against teams that don't get as much pressure and he actually has time to throw, because he has a bad offensive line, that's another thing. But like when you give him time, he can put up fantasy points that don't necessarily translate to wins, obviously, but for DFS, it's good.
All right. And Big T, if nothing else on the Bengals Ravens, that's just a product of the way the season's worked out for both of those squads, actually. Like I remember that before the stat was the Ravens had basically lost for 14 seconds the whole season and took 2 L's the way it ends. And this time, almost like the Chargers, it flipped in their favor, and a good last drive from you're calling him RB1, QRB1, did both on that last drive, did his job.
He struggles, man. That's one take I won't ever come off of either.
I know. Well,
he misses. Don't get me wrong, I love him fantasy-wise, but you can't miss just butt-naked receivers. Like, These guys are running
He's
wide
throwing
open.
some good dimes this season throughout the other games. It's just
Some
that
of them
game
I
he
think
missed
are
those
like
spots.
fluky
Yeah.
though. I never watch him, and I'm like, man, that was like a true. Like they feel lucky, even like that one that he threw a blooper in there that everyone was sucking off. I thought that was more.
But
luck.
even Josh Allen a couple weeks ago at the end of the game with that little flick, it's like it happens to these guys. But either like this guy did his job. If you got a quarterback that can still get the D thrown off that much to get them in position for JT to go win the game, Tucker did his job. Came through. Like I said, sometimes the breaks go that way. It was a good game though. Love a good division battle.
If you're the Bengals though, that's why you got to beat the Steelers. You got to close the Cowboys out in that because you're going to lose some games by just variance. This game was just variance, honestly. Like. Could have gone either way. Whoever got the last kick was going to win, and that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I still got some Snyder bucks, so those Snyder bucks taste good out there, baby.
Was it you bet him on the cover? Good teams.
He called me out. He said, "I want my squad versus your squad."
Good teams win, great teams cover. So that's.
I didn't even ask for points, but he said you can have +3. I said, "Okay." I didn't give him the line about not needing them. I took them, and I did need them.
The opposite says your bookie had the points on the Dallas game, so you got him from Snyder bookie on the other side. All right, shout out Snyder Goat. Speaking of close games, down to last second, Big T Raiders Chiefs last night, and then I'll go to JSU to round us out. But 30-29 had a bad. Your Twitter, you talked about it earlier today. It was great, but it was true. JSU called it out too. You had it covered. Where it was like once you get the bad call, you get all the makeup calls. So sure enough, that's definitely what happened. But thoughts on that game last night, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really surprised me. Kansas City still looks pretty weak. I mean, Kelsey, pretty fluky, 29 yards or whatever, 4 touchdowns. I had Kansas City. I thought they'd kill him. I felt like I got pretty lucky to even have a chance. They didn't impress me at all. I mean, Mahomes impresses me because he's freaking incredible, but they don't have receivers. They don't really have a good O-line. I don't like them. That's why I think Buffalo's just a stone cold lock this week. So I don't know. The Raiders are what they are too. I picked them to win the division. They're 1-4 now. I think they're better than 1-4, but when you're 5 weeks in, you are what your record says. And if you're 1-4, you got a lot of problems making it up, no matter how good I think you are. So I don't know. It's pretty much what I figured there.
JSU, thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, we gave a lot of thoughts earlier, but I will just say I do think the Raiders, with the fullback coming in, they definitely found something playing that kid with the run game because it definitely opened up a ton of holes.
Isn't that the Baltimore guy? I was wondering about that.
He was on New England.
New England, yeah.
Yeah, he was on New England. So you saw him because they use that formation. Not every team uses that formation a lot with the fullbacks, but nowadays. But I think it opened up for sure Jacobs. I mean, he had massive holes. I mean, it was insane. And like you said, 2 straight weeks. They've been without Foster Moreau. So instead of going with the double tight end sets, they've been going more with the fullback too. And then Darren Waller obviously gets hurt. I don't even know when he got hurt. They said it was 2 plays in or something like that. All of a sudden he has the hamstring and then he's out and that's it for him. So
back-to-back nights too with that. T. Higgins and then Waller were high-owned guys.
Nyheim Hines on Thursday, Tony.
His at least you could see the injury though. Like the other 2, you didn't even see anything. They were just out.
Yeah,
his was what scared everyone too because he came back from the Q tag, only plays the first 20 snaps or something, and then it goes to last night. And again, Juju is dust. I saw today someone saying
so bad.
His name rhymes with poo poo and voodoo and all the stuff that's just like it's just a trap.
Can't get separation. Yeah. He just can't get even that catch he made where he dove on the sideline on that right side, like he couldn't get any separation. The corner was in perfect position. The ball was just thrown beautifully, and he dove and caught it, but there's no separation ever with him. Like, he just can't get it. And they keep trying to get him the football. I'm like, dude, stop. You got Hardman. You got MVS. These guys at least can get separation. They sometimes can't catch the ball, but they can at least get separation. Like,
MVS has one every week that just hits him square in the middle of the numbers.
Why did they throw him screen passes, by the way? Like, that's the one play you should never run with MVS.
He's
like a screen
wide
pass.
Open, though. Like, your job is
literally wide open.
Football. Like, God, it's
how do you not catch that? Like, seriously.
I have no idea. And not even a play where, like, you think someone's coming at you.
The best when they show it in slow mo, just him and the ball just hitting him, like just.
It reminds me of that safety from the Seahawks that JSU always strokes, where he doesn't even literally see the ball. It's like bouncing off his helmet and whatever else.
And then
Adams.
Devontae and Renfro ran into each other, and so they couldn't even get the call. They're looking for a flag, and the ref's like, "You ran into each other." Like, there's no flag coming out. By the way,
we didn't talk about this, Tony, earlier, but Devontae Adams pushing the dude over who was running through the side of the tunnel, and now the dude's filed a police report or something like that. I mean, first of all, Devontae Adams, should he have pushed the dude? No.
Hell no.
Was he pissed that he just lost that game and his own teammate ran into him?
Yeah,
and he had that key drop too.
And
he did bobble that too. That was a good call. He did bobble that. He
spiked his helmet after the game. Yeah. He obviously was pissed. And in the heat of the moment, okay, he pushed the dude down. He shouldn't have done it. He should have picked him up and said, "My bad, dude," and then walked in the locker room, and that be it. And there'd be no apologizing. But now he's getting a police report filed on him. I mean,
he's just trying to get that bread, JSU. He's trying to get that free bread, is what he's doing.
I get it, but it's like, man, how soft have we come as a society? My guy got pushed over. He should be able to send him like a nugget, maybe a ball with his name written, like a signed ball or something, and that's it. Be all good.
My favorite part was the tweet, though. He said, "I hope he sees this."
I hope he sees this.
Come on.
At least it looked like he actually wrote it and it wasn't the PR setup. Like he said, like, "I hope you see this, man. I hope you get this letter, man." Like Stan with Eminem or something. "I hope you get this letter, man." Like he's like sent it out on the tweet. Come on.
It's just like that.
It was. And when a guy in golf hits a guy with a ball, smokes him, it's like, sign a glove, pass it off. You ain't suing me. Like you came out to the golf course. You get in my way when I'm walking off the field. It's not right. It's not good. That's why I had to apologize. But like, I don't know. It's just what the guy's his way. You just get the fuck out of the way.
JJ in the chat says Fox News article quoted saying the injuries are believed to be non-life threatening.
So bad. As you can see in the video where he basically gets right back up, he's fine.
Oh, I'm dying. Not life threatening.
Oh man. All right, Big T, final thoughts from you, man. Anything else for this? We got to get out of here. We got another show coming up next, the PGA show. Myself, Hoop, and a very special guest this week. We were bringing a special guest on based on the fact that it's overseas in Japan. We have our resident Japanese golf specialist, Kurt. Kurt's coming on the show to talk about all the golfers, man. It's going to be so good.
Kurt talking about these bad. Oh, God.
It's going to be perfect. Go ahead, Big T. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think we covered it pretty good. Like always, we're going to do the Print Factory. I don't know what day. We'll go with a full breakdown as always. One just initial thought for Thursday, just because it's a Thursday game, and I don't know. We'll do the showdown show. But, man, I don't understand how the total's 38. Like, I know these teams suck, but I think it goes over. Like 38. Both these teams, I think, are quietly better on offense than people think. I said it with the Bears last week. I think the total's too low, so I'll leave the people with that.
I love that.
By the way, that was probably one of the best defensive plays of the whole week that like didn't get as much love as it should have. Was it Dantzler ripping the ball out of the wide receiver for the Bears' arms, like as he was trying to dance around instead of getting down or out, just ripped it right out and ended the game. Like that was a sick play at the end of the game.
Yeah. Anything else from you, JSU, you want to talk about before we get out of here?
No, we'll be back. We got the Print Factory later. I don't know when we'll do it. Maybe Wednesday, maybe Friday. Who the heck knows? With Tony running the ship, I just wait on
this
call
week, big boy.
boss.
I'm here. You're coming here. It's all you this week when you can do it.
What do you mean? We're going to be in the same place. What do you mean when I can do it? I got to get on Tony's lunch.
We got to accommodate that travel schedule of JSU.
Enjoy your Chili's, big boy. You gonna take him out to Chili's?
I might. I mean, who knows? Maybe I will.
That might be something I'd be interested in, Tony. I don't know.
With the K Fally takes that it's actually not that bad. You guys can go.
Last time I got treated to a steakhouse, Tambo. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we go down to Chili's.
We go wherever JSU wants when he comes.
JSU likes a good steakhouse. He likes a good steak. That's what he's
taking him again.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week. We're going to get out of here. We've got the golf show coming up next for Big T, for JSU, for myself, Toe Tapping, Tambo. Tap in with Toe Tag and Tambo every week, same time, same place. Big T, JSU, whoever got control, get us out of here.